Here we are, live from Brave Haven Studios. It's the Coach Scott Field Show. I'll tell you what, Bob, we deliver. We have heard for weeks how we wanted to have a camera on you. The viewers are kind of saying, we're going to have a camera pointed on you tonight, huh?
Yeah, thank goodness for that.
Ah, I love it. So people can now put a face to the voice. Everybody says they see me staring off, having conversations with somebody. Tonight they can see you.
They can see me.
I love it.
My ugly mug is here.
No, that is Bob Fitzgerald, the owner of Brave Haven Studios, Brave Haven Media. And I'm glad we got a camera pointed at you there, buddy. This is awesome.
Well, I'm glad one of us is happy.
Oh, June 30th, the month of June has just slipped by us. It's hard to believe tomorrow is going to be July 1st. Beautiful day on the Wasatch Front today.
Yeah, I mean, the first half of 2014 is gone.
I didn't even think of it
exits
that way.
today.
You are exactly right. Wow. And outstanding, we have one of our sponsors live in studio tonight. I'm excited to have him come on and share a little bit about what he does, but to have him in studio with us tonight is a thrill and a pleasure. I said I was going to say something. His sock game is on point. So if we can get a camera and show his socks, if that's what financial advising will do,
he'll throw them up on the table.
Oh,
yeah.
We got to do it. Nick, you're looking good, baby. Love it. Got a couple really neat guests tonight, Bob. A couple former players that I've been able to work with in the past are going to be on live with us tonight. Excited to have them both. They're both going to share some amazing insight and some things that they're doing now with their careers and just quality people. So excited to have that. We had a poll question tonight for the show. How did your NBA team do in the 2014 NBA draft? Tell us a grade that you gave them and why you gave them that grade. We had one fan from Indiana who will read that off later with his grade, and then we had another fan who is out in Oklahoma City who gave his team a grade, and then also a gentleman here in Salt Lake City also gave a grade to our Utah Jazz. So kind of nice that this guy is wearing multiple hats. He's a sponsor. He's going to be our soccer insider tonight, talking some World Cup action, and he's going to enlighten us all on what he does, you know, with his professional career. Great to have him here. A former player of mine again. Nick is in studio, so Nick, thrilled to have you, buddy. Excited to have you be a part of us. Want to give a few shout-outs. Tonight, as you can tell, we're dedicating this show to my grandmother who lost her little battle here a few weeks ago. I was able to go home and spend some time with family last weekend, and really touched that we've lost her, but heaven has definitely gained an angel. Grandma Baker has lost us, has left us, and it's still hard to talk about, but this show is dedicated to my grandmother tonight, so thoughts and prayers with all of our family who loved and adored this amazing woman who we're blessed to have called her grandma and great-grandma and mom. She's just a great lady. Also want to give a special shout out to June Stinnett down in Houston, Texas. June watches the show quite often. She is a breast cancer survivor. She just came out of an intense surgery there in Houston, Texas. June Stinnett, we're thinking of you. Our thoughts and prayers go with you. You're an amazing inspiration and battling an amazing, illness here, and you're going to win this thing. I know your faith and your spirituality is going to pull you through, and thanks for the constant inspiration. Thanks for your support. We're thinking of you, June. Also, little Cohen. Happy birthday to Cohen out in Indiana. He's also just recovering from a little surgery. They had to put some tubes in his ears, and they had to remove his tonsils and adenoids. So thinking of you, Cohen, buddy. Happy birthday to Judy Harrison right here in Salt Lake City. That is Alema Harrington's mother-in-law. Krista, we know you think the world of your mom, and she's just a great support with the family that you have there. So Judy, want to wish you a happy birthday. Also Camille Weaver out in California. Happy birthday to you, Camille. Hope you and Danny are doing well. I know Buffy was out visiting there with you. I'm sure you guys had some great hikes and some fun on the beach and enjoyed all the dogs. So happy birthday to Camille. Also want to give a special shout out to Pastor John Rhodes there in Indiana. He stopped by to just visit when I was there in Indiana, visiting with family. John, it meant a lot to me that you took the time to stop by, and you've always been an amazing spiritual leader and a true inspiration. So John, thank you so much for stopping by, and also a shout out to your family who watches our show down in Alabama. Gosh, Bob, I gotta tell you, John Rhodes is a guy that when I was going through a lot of my health issues, in my early 20s, he used to come down and he'd say prayers, with us, just before I was going into like one of my multiple knee surgeries and some things that I had gone through. So John, it meant a lot that you stopped by this last week just to say hello, and I really appreciate it. And again, hello to your family. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Team JMP, John Matson with his strength and conditioning that he does right here in the Salt Lake Valley, continuing to work with the people a little bit about what you do, how you do it. You're a financial advisor. I'm probably not even giving your title correctly, but I mean, look at this guy. Look at that, shirt and tie, cleaned up, looking good. So Nick, we know your phone number is 801-999-3773, but tell the viewers a little bit about what you do, how you do it, how you could help them with their financial needs. Please tell them what you do, buddy.
Okay. Well, first, thanks for letting me have some screen time. That's
Of
great.
course, come
it's
on,
good
buddy.
being with you, Coach.
I want you to show your socks before you leave, though. That's
Okay, see if I can wrangle them up here.
My son will love them. But go ahead.
Well, again, I'm Nick Fitzgerald. I work with the Financial Planning Division at MetLife. So the gist of what I do is help people with their overall financial planning, whether it's life or disability insurance, long-term care questions, retirement strategies, and whether you're in the savings portion or the distribution, and then managing investments along the way. So
Nice.
the approach I take is, I can't give you good advice without knowing your whole situation. So it's a relationship where we visit quarterly, annually, as frequent as you want. We set goals. I hold you accountable to them, and we go from there, and we make adjustments as we go. So, anybody that you might have benefits through work or things like that, I'll evaluate those things and help people find the gaps that maybe they didn't realize were there, and help fill the holes as they come. So
there you go. It's kind of like going to a doctor. If you go into a doctor with a limp and you don't tell them that your knee's hurting, you might start looking at an ankle, and it's probably the same thing with financial advising. You have to say, okay, how can I help you? And where can we best put a portfolio together for you?
Yep.
So it's outstanding, and I highly encourage anybody and everybody watching the show tonight, especially all the local viewers here, to give you a call. Share with them the best way to contact you. Again, the phone number 801-999-3773, but is there like a website they can go to or other ways?
There's not a website, so the phone is the easiest and quickest way. You can send me an email at nfitzgerald@metlife.com.
Nice.
And if you're in the Sandy area, my office is in the Jordan Commons office tower where the Millers have their offices up on the 7th floor, so you can walk in and ask to see me that way too if you're in the area. So again, local, and love helping people here, and licensed in other states to help as well.
Outstanding stuff. Really appreciate you coming into the studio tonight, talking about what you do, how you can help people, because again, our whole show is about empowering, educating, and growing, and what better way to prepare for retirement and your post years to have a great financial plan to help people,
Yeah.
So
Yep, sometimes it's not the funnest thing to talk about.
Yeah.
But, you got to have the conversation.
well, the
sometime.
reality, it's reality, yeah.
Yep.
So, gosh, well, thanks so much for coming on and
Thanks for
sharing
having
with
me.
us and being in the studio tonight and letting the people see who you are. So I think it's great. But talking about Jordan Commons, I heard, was it Friday evening, there was a mountain lion right there, probably close to where your office
Friday
is.
morning, we looked out. It was on the west side of
It's
the
a
building.
female, right?
Yeah.
Female cougar?
Yeah, and then they end up catching it on the east side of the
I
building,
heard that
so-
it ran off, and
Yeah.
then I heard that
It was-
the cougar lost life.
Yeah,
It was over tranquilized, which I'm an outdoorsman. I love wildlife, and it saddened me to learn that it was over tranquilized and she didn't make it. So maybe the stress of the whole chase and everything that I'm sad about that, but I'm glad no one was injured.
Yeah, it was a little bit crazy down there.
I'm sure, especially if you're looking at your office and going, wow, there's a cougar running around down there.
Yeah.
I mean, here it is. I mean, talk about that location. That's quite away from
Yeah.
any of the mountains, or I mean, it's worked its way down through, and
Yeah.
boy, I just wish it could have been a successful, tranquilization and relocation for that, but
Yeah.
it just didn't work out.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but thanks again, Nick, for coming on.
Thanks,
and
Coach.
we're talk about World Cup.
Oh.
You talked a little bit. The top 16, USA will be playing Belgium tomorrow. Share a little bit about.
Yeah, big game tomorrow. We're in the knockout round, so it's win or go home.
There
So,
you go, kind of like the NCAA, again,
yeah,
right?
we're to the
Yeah.
American part where there is going to be a loser.
There you go.
So they play Belgium tomorrow at 2 p.m. Mountain Time here
Okay.
locally. There are watch parties everywhere, but at the Gallivan Center downtown, there's going to be a really big gathering to watch it. They'll have food trucks and all sorts of stuff there. So if you're playing hooky to watch it, if you're not going to Buffalo Wild Wings or something, you go there. But big game. We had our Josie Altador is one of our forwards who got injured in our first game against Ghana. He has been cleared to play again. So
nice.
hopefully he'll be in it. We don't know how much he'll play tomorrow, but
Okay.
hopefully he's a difference
And
maker.
Real Salt Lake is represented with the national team also?
We have 2 players. We had 3. We have Kyle Beckerman, who started all 3 games in the group stage,
Okay.
and will probably start tomorrow.
Everybody knows him for his hair.
Yeah, the dreads. Dread the dreads.
Hey,
right?
I've got hair envy, so I can't say anything.
Yeah. So we have him, and then Nick Raimondo is one of the backup goalkeepers, and then we had Alvaro Sabarillo, who is Costa Rican.
Okay.
He ended up breaking his 5th metatarsal or something,
Wow.
so he ended up not being able to play. He traveled with the team to Brazil, but he hasn't been playing. But so Real has been well represented as well.
Bob, you've got to be proud. I mean, this guy wears multiple hats. He comes in as a sponsor. He's now our soccer insider. He's dropping World Cup knowledge. It's just a bunch of guys running on the grass for 90 minutes to me. And
that's me too.
that's a lot of running. Oh my goodness. But anyway, those guys are unbelievably conditioned. Actually yesterday, for the first time, I tuned in for just a moment, and I saw a little bit of the. I'm so ashamed that I can't even tell you the 2 countries that I was watching. Was it Costa Rica? Whatever it was,
yeah.
But it went into penalty kicks. Amazing the stamina and endurance that these athletes have, because I mean they are running around forever. And then Costa Rica was playing a man short, and I think they beat Greece with penalty kicks. So, what exciting stuff for these small countries to get in there and compete on a world level. Do you have a favorite? Who do you like?
The German team is really,
Yeah.
efficient for some reason. I wonder where
Okay.
that comes from. But they won today, so they're into the next round.
Okay.
They look dangerous. The Netherlands is also another really
Team
good
in
team.
orange, baby. I see
Yeah.
the orange jerseys
The
everywhere.
orange.
But hey, get an orange jersey.
And then you gotta love USA's chances. You gotta root for the home or
Got to.
for the national team.
Oh,
So.
gosh. Soccer's big here in the Salt Lake Valley.
Yeah, it's
They've got to
grown
have a
up.
nice little, base. And Dave Checketts has got to love the attention that it's bringing to soccer, because when Real comes back here to play, hopefully there's going to be some more hype and more support, because it's kind of like watching hockey back. When we had our Miracle on Ice, all of a sudden hockey seemed to grow after, it kind of got people interested in it. So I'm excited, to see our country, playing so well, and we wish them the best of luck. But thanks for, coming on and sharing your knowledge. That's
Anytime,
awesome.
Coach.
And again, but get a hold of Nick at MetLife with that phone number again, 801-999-3773. Let him take care of you financially, put you on a path that's going to make it comfortable for you. As again, there's multiple things that he does, but I think for me personally, I need to holler at you, because Coach needs to be getting set up financially.
Anytime.
Okay, buddy.
Thanks,
Hey,
Coach.
so real quick, we'll take a break, and we'll come back, and we're going to get Ace Custis, a former player of mine, on the phone and live right here on the Coach Scott Field Show, right here out of Brave Haven Studios. So we'll come back right after we pay the bills and have Ace on the show. Good job, Nick.
In order to complete this call, you must dial the area code and the telephone number. Thank you.
Hello, is this Ace?
Yes, this is he.
Hey, Ace, this is Bob Fitzgerald with Brave Haven Media. I've got Coach Scott Fields. Would love to talk to you on the air if that's okay with you.
Sounds great.
All right. Coach?
Are we live? We back on? We are live. Okay, I thought we had a little break. We got Ace Custis on the line. Ace, my man, how you doing, buddy? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. Coach, how you doing?
I am blessed. I am really blessed, and I'm thrilled to have you come be a part of this show with us. It's just great to hear your voice, buddy.
Coach, it's good to catch up with you. I appreciate you reaching out to me and inviting me on the show tonight.
Oh, listen, we've had a great time with this show, Ace, and you know the whole purpose behind this whole show is empowerment. Giving coaches, the insight and content so that they can become better coaches. And just educating as many coaches and players as we can, helping them get to another level. And you've had an amazing journey, and I had the fortunes of working with you in Lebanon and having success. And of course, you're now retired as a player, but you're college coaching now, and I believe you shared with me you've just taken a new job.
Yes, I started working here at University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. I started the job back May 19th. Last year, I was at Virginia State University in Petersburg, Virginia, and I started working there after a pretty decent season. I had the opportunity to join Coach Bobby Collins here at the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, and I couldn't turn that opportunity down.
Man, I am excited for you, and to have a guy with your knowledge, your experience, your expertise to sit there and help these young players develop. Eastern Shore has got themselves a great one. I always knew that if I was ever blessed enough to get a job, that I'd love to have you come work with the young talent to help develop the players. And I want to congratulate you because I know you're passionate about it. I know you love the game, and for you to share your knowledge and experience and expertise with those kids, they are very fortunate to have you, buddy.
That's such a compliment, Coach. I greatly appreciate it. I'd like to apologize if I ever gave you a hard time in Lebanon. I know we had a lot of great times on and off the court, and it was a pleasure for you. I remember one time when I came into practice 1 minute late. Actually, the team was walking toward the center court, and you penalized me. You made me stay after practice and made me do a little extra running for me being 1 minute late. But I see what you was trying to get accomplished by doing that, and I kind of incorporate that into my style of coaching in today with the young guys.
Well,
so
it's amazing that you remember
do as a coach,
that.
I've incorporated it myself.
Well, it's amazing that you remember that, because I can remember coming into Lebanon, and I think I came in there like in February. You guys were probably 3/4 of the way through your season. You guys had a Yugoslavian coach, and let's give a shout out first of all to the Riyadi fan base, Riyadi Club and Riyadi fans who, they continue to have success. We came in there, I think the team was about 6th place, battling for a playoff spot when I came in and replaced the Yugoslavian coach that we had. And we tried to change the culture, we changed the mentality, we changed the way we worked, we changed the way we prepared, and I tried to hold all players accountable with our hustle point system that we implemented that was hopefully teaching, players, even the young players that we had with Riyadi that season. I mean, we had Galib Rida, we had Paul Afiaki, who was on the team. We were blessed to have you. Julius Nwasu, a former Spur, was with us, and we got that thing turned around, and our captains, Walid Dumiati, Yasser Haj, they really bought into what we were doing. And I think we went on when we first got there, our first win was on the road, and I think we won like 6 or 7 in a row, and came back home and beat the Champville team that the team had struggled against all year, and we really got it going.
Yes, Coach. Boy, you're bringing some great memories back to me right now. When you was going down that roster, such great times on the court playing with those guys. You actually, when you came in, you changed the entire mentality of the team, and we was already close. But what you brought to the team, we became a lot more of a unit and playing as one. no selfish type play. Everybody was for the betterment of Riyadi. And with such a great organization Riyadi is, even today I continue to follow Riyadi fans, the team, and I try to keep up in contact with all the guys on Facebook, through Twitter, and remain friends with some of those guys today. And that just shows a decade later, we're still in touch. So that must mean we were friends along with being basketball teammates.
That's right. You know, I still value a lot of those relationships. Basketball in Lebanon at the time was huge. You know, Antoine Shwaley was the president of the FLB at the time. He was also the owner of LBC, and you know there was a lot of turmoil and things going on. But I can remember getting into that championship because we did get to the finals, and war had broke out, and a lot of countries were coming to Lebanon for refuge. But Lebanon doesn't get the exposure that they deserve. You say Beirut, Lebanon, and first thing everybody wants to think about is bombing and civil war and an infrastructure that was no good. But Hariri, the prime minister, was a huge financial supporter of the team, and what a great person he was, and the impact that he's had on that country and the infrastructure and how they've rebuilt that whole downtown Beirut and walking along the Corniche. Ace, you have to admit that was a great situation, especially getting into the finals against a team that had won the championship like 6 or 7 years in a row. They were Christian-based. Our team was Muslim-based. We had the prime minister of the country back in our team. They had the president of the country. So we mixed sports, politics, and religion. And when you mix all that up coming into the finals, it got intense with the whole army surrounding the court in their berets with their Uzis in their hands, and that was our security.
Yes, it was very intense. On the court, in the stands, out in the community. I mean, the whole country, when we was about to play those games, I recall everything shuts down. Everything stops for those games. Yeah. Basketball and sports is so big over there. A lot of my friends, when they hear of Lebanon, a lot of them reach out to me because they know I played in Lebanon and I had a little success there. So they call me and ask me. I tell them, yes, you will enjoy basketball in Lebanon. I really enjoyed my time there, and it would be a place I would go back and visit because I still have a lot of friends there. And, anytime I get a chance to go online and just follow it, I mean, it brings smiles to my face because I recall and reflect on such great times I had there.
You better believe it. And I'll tell you what, that was my first experience in the Middle East, and being with Riyadi Club, I give the analogy that the court where we played our home games, it was like Cameron Indoor. It was first come, first serve. It was general admission. And if you remember, the more success we had, there were like 3,000 people camped out front of the gymnasium trying to get in, just to watch our games. And it was so packed, and the humidity, and man, what great fans that they have out there.
Yes, and I recall one time in the playoffs when I played, they had the big screen TVs outside in the parking lot. Yeah. And all the fans that couldn't get in would sit outside. It was a whole other party and a whole lot of fun going on outside, watching on the big screen, just as if it was inside the arena itself. Well,
you're being very humble to say that you had a little bit of success. Matter of fact, I had a Riyadi fan send me a message when we posted that you were going to come on the show, and of course they called you the shimmy guy. So they're like, we can't wait to hear our shimmy guy. We love Ace, we miss Ace, and I know you've impacted those fans, and what a great job you've done out there. But you've also gone on and played many other countries. I think you've played quite a bit in Japan. Kind of winding out your career. Then you and I got to work together again when I went to Qatar for a short time, and you helped us in the Emir Cup out there, and we got all the way to the finals with that team, bringing you in for your services. So we've gotten to work together twice, and man, what a great job and great skill sets that you brought to those teams. And it was fun because with the Riyadi team, I remember we kind of we gave more responsibility to the local players. Waleed Dumiati as the point guard, Yasser Haj came in, and Paul, before he was injured, was in there as a big, and of course you and Julius, and we had David Harrison on the team at the time. But I just remember that team coming together, and we all just was a family, and took that team all the way to the finals and had a great time with it.
Yes, and your point system, your hustle system that you was using, that really, really helped. And I commend you when I look at the work that you was doing back then as the coach, the only coach editing the film and doing all that yourself. I mean, I see how much it takes for several of the coaches to get that done as a unit, and you was doing that, instilling that into us all by yourself up in your hotel room. And I mean, that takes a lot of work, Coach, and I commend you for doing such great things.
Well, I appreciate it. It's kind of you to say, but again, I was blessed that I had great talent there, but we just able to change the culture and change the mentality and had that success. So it was a pleasure working with you, and great players like you make crazy, skinny, bald coaches like me look good.
I mean, I feel like I had a pretty good run. I enjoyed my career. My last 9 years I was in Japan, but the season would end fairly early over there, and I would go to other countries. I would go back to Lebanon to play.
Yeah.
I went to Philippines. I went to Syria, several different countries throughout my career once I left Lebanon the first time. So I was still able to get out and do a lot of traveling and continue to play basketball at a high level.
Right.
And I ended up retiring April of 2012. I felt like I still could play, but Father Time is undefeated.
Amen to that, huh? Amen to that.
And it was times that, after games, I'd feel like I can play, and my body telling me I can play, but the injuries was catching up to me, and practicing was becoming a lot harder. The games was easy to get up for, but it was the practices that was becoming for me. So I felt like it was time for me to change over to coaching and be on the sideline and try to help give back some of the things that I've picked up from a lot of the coaches throughout my career.
Yeah. Well, you've been around some great basketball minds. A friend of ours, Coach Jimmy Clemens, was with the Dallas Mavericks when you were leaving Virginia Tech, and you got a little break there with the Dallas Mavericks for a short time. What types of things were you able to pick up from Coach Clemens? Because again, he's known for being with Phil Jackson and that triangle offense for years. But what were some things that you picked up from Coach Clemens?
Coach Clemens, I mean, he paid attention to detail.
Yeah.
I mean, his preparation and all was phenomenal, and his preparation for practices and his intent. He was very, very intense in practice, in the games, in the huddles. So, he brought a lot of energy to the sideline, and his attention to detail. I mean, that was one of the things, a couple of things I took from him.
Sure. Now, you mentioned playing in the Philippines. You played in Japan. You've played in Lebanon. What were some of the things that you've picked up on your journey through all these different countries that you're starting to implement and understand what you're doing as you're now transitioning into being a coach and developing players and talent? What are some of the things that stick out to you the most that you are now doing as a coach?
I try to tell the guys the importance of working hard.
Yeah.
I always worked hard, but in my career in high school and in college, some games came to me kind of easy because in high school I was the biggest one in my area. Yeah. When I got to college, I mean, I was on first team, all conference, and I was playing okay, and I was kind of complacent when I look back as an older individual now. But once I got to the profession, in order to keep a job and in order to keep a paycheck coming in, you had to do the little things. I used to watch Hubert Davis and Dennis Scott and those guys after practice, the work that they would put in doing a simple dribble drive to the right to a floater. Yeah. And I asked Hubert one day, I was like, Hubert, what is the reason for that? I mean, you're doing this 40 and 50 times after practice. Why? Back then they called me Rook. Rook, there's a lot of footers in this league. So when you saw those guys drive to the hole, it wasn't a shot just because a footer jumped. They practiced that shot every day. So when I got overseas and I got to Japan, I really, really expanded my game. I could shoot the 3-ball,
Right.
but when I got to Japan, I wouldn't leave practice until I made 100. No matter how tired I was, I stayed back. I rested, and then I got on the court, and I made 100 threes every day, and I did it to improve my range on my shot, and it actually added years to my career.
Right, right. Well, that's something that, I want to make sure that we talk about, especially with player development. You were so dangerous because you had so much versatility. Again, someone 6'9" who could step out and space the floor. You could penetrate. You could finish at the basket. You could finish with strength. Your ability to pass and see the floor. You were very unselfish. But again, all those tangibles that you brought to a team was an added asset and a weapon for a coach like myself to use when I saw all the things that you brought. Of course, and again, you're being humble. I mean, they've retired your jersey and number out there at Virginia Tech, haven't they?
Yes, I was put into the Hall of Fame, and they did retire my number. I had a lot of success at Virginia Tech, and it was fun. I mean, great memories, great teammates. I've been blessed to be associated with some great teammates throughout my career.
Yeah.
And all my teammates I've stayed in contact with in some way and fashion, especially now through social media.
Yeah.
I'm able to reach out to someone. I can get in contact with someone within a day if need be. And, building those relationships. And when you're having fun playing with the guy next to you, you have better results.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to instill in my life. Enjoy this ride that you're having, because at some point in your career, you're going to be a former player.
Right.
So
It's
enjoy
so
the
true.
run now and give it your all each and every time you're out on the court. And even in the classrooms, without the classroom, I tell the guys there is no basketball. So the same effort that you give me on the court, give your professors in the classroom.
That's right. I love that, and those are some great nuggets there, Ace. Let's, now that you are coaching and you're on the recruiting trail, you mentioned about hard work and work ethic. It's a shame that hard work is now a skill set when it should be a given. And I appreciate you sharing that insight. But what are some things that you're looking for when you're going to AAU tournaments, or when you're back home in Virginia, maybe doing a camp, or, trying to, reach out and help some players? Because I know there's a lot of players that have looked up to you for years. And just like when I was coaching in Venezuela, I called you up and I said, hey, Ace, I said, this is what I'm looking for. You put me in contact with John Gilchrist from the University of Maryland. And like you said, Coach, he goes hard. And man, his work ethic was unbelievable. So your eye and ability to evaluate talent is there. But what are things that you look for when you're watching these young athletes in these high school games or these AAU tournaments to bring into your staff to help Maryland Eastern Shore?
First and foremost, they have to have a little talent. You have to have something to be able to coach and something to build on. But once you establish that this potential player that you're looking at, talent level that you're looking for, I look for the little things.
Yeah.
Is he coachable? And I look at that by his demeanor when a referee calls a bad call, or when the coach takes him out of the game and he comes to the bench, his body language. I look at a lot of body language during timeouts. How is he interacting with his teammates or the coach? Is he a team player? If someone takes a bad shot, is he frowning? Is he being an asset to the team as far as hurting the team instead of hurting the team? And I look at a lot of little things.
Nice. I love that, and I'm glad to hear you say that. Body language is so important. And, of course, as a coach, coaching in all these different countries myself, and I give the example of China because, English was not spoken there. And, of course, there's two different dialects. You had your Mandarin and your Cantonese. And if you remember, I always put my point guard right in front of me, Ace, and then I put my 4 and my 5 man, then I put my 2 and my 3 man to bookend them. But as I was given instructions in those timeouts, watching the interpreter translate what I was saying to them, I always went off their body language or a look in their eye to see if they were absorbing, or if I needed to maybe, tell it another way. And body language, again, is a key factor of when you're on the floor and you, as a coach now, watch a certain player, maybe he's getting down on himself because you see his body language, his shoulders go down. He's not playing with the confidence because he's made a couple of mistakes. I think body language tells so many things, Ace.
Yes, it does. And, you can read a lot from a player's body language. And then once you get to know the player, I've experienced everybody is different. So I coach every person differently. So some can't handle you being on them a lot verbally.
Yeah.
So I try to, pull them aside and not try to embarrass them in front of the other teammates as much.
Right.
Sometimes in the heat of the battle, some things may be done or said, but for the most part, I try to handle each and every person different on the team because, a lot of them can receive the information that I'm giving them differently.
That's right.
So I try to, treat them, but on the same page.
Yeah, I love it, Ace. And that's why I know you are going to be an asset to any staff that you're going to be on, especially as you climb that ladder quickly. You're going to be a head coach yourself real soon. And I look forward to watching your growth and watching your development as a coach. And I know you're going to be successful just because of your character, your heart, and your passion for the game. And you care about the people that you're around, just like the relationships. Here we are, more than a decade later, you and I are still friends, and I'm sure all these players that you've worked with, like you said, they're a day away where you can drop a mail to someone in Lebanon or someone in Japan, and that just shows the kind of person that you are, Ace.
Yes, I attribute that to my upbringing. My mom always raised me, treat everybody the same and treat everybody with respect. The same way you want them to treat you, that's the way I treat them. And throughout the years, it's worked for me, and I try to instill that into my kids as well. I have 3 boys. One of them will be transferring here to University of Maryland, Eastern Shore.
Congratulations.
Charles Mapp, and then I have my other 2 youngest ones, which is 9 and 4. And I try to instill the same things to them as well.
Well, I can only imagine they're going to be a chip off the old block, and they're going to be outstanding kids and successful themselves just because of the things that you're sharing with them. And I know without a doubt, unequivocally, that you're a better father than you probably are a coach, and you're an outstanding coach. So that is a huge testament to your character.
Thanks, Coach. I greatly appreciate it. I've been touched by a lot of great people in my life. I had a lot of great coaches, and you rank up there with the highest of them, Coach. I know you're going to be very humble. Coach, I put you up there in the top tier coaches that I've ever been involved with.
Well, I really appreciate you saying that. That means a lot. I'll make sure I slip you a 20 in the mail. So that's good stuff. I appreciate you, buddy. But, hey, we had a poll question tonight, and I wanted to run the poll question off of you. I know this is unprepared. You didn't know I was even going to ask it. But the poll question that we had for tonight's show, and we've had, some people chime in on it, I'm sure you watch a little bit of NBA. Do you have a favorite NBA team, Ace, right now?
Yes, I have a favorite team. My favorite team is Los Angeles Lakers.
Okay. Well, the question tonight was, how did your team do in the NBA draft? What grade would you give them and why? How do you think the Lakers did with moving forward? Because I believe they took Julius Randle as their first pick in the draft. How do you think they did with their draft overall, first and second round, and what grade would you give them?
I think we did okay. Julius Randle, he's going to be a game changer. He's a man-child. When he was playing in the Final Four and throughout his freshman year at Kentucky, he had a great year. You can give him the ball. He can create for himself, and he can create for his teammates. And when you get that versatility in NBA, he plays extremely, and they compared him to Zach Randolph, and I think that's a pretty fair comparison. I think he's a little bit more athletic than Zach Randolph.
I agree.
But Zach Randolph is a great player, and to be compared to him is a great thing. Mm-hmm. But I think we did okay, and we have Kobe Bryant coming back, which, any coach would love to have on his team.
That's right.
And, we have a lot of veteran pieces, but it is going to be a rebuilding time. But I'm looking forward to it.
There you go.
the West is really tough.
Oh,
It's really tough out West.
I mean, look at them
But I
Spurs.
think we're
Look
going to
what
be able to
those
compete
Spurs
a
did
lot
this year.
more next year than we did this year.
Yeah, yeah. Like I was saying, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the Spurs, look how they just went about their business. They did it the right way. They spaced the floor. They make the extra pass. They're very unselfish. The players know their roles. They play to the roles. And look at Kawhi Leonard and the finals that he had. For him to be named MVP, well deserving. But, I mean, all those guys, Patty Mills came in, did a great job knocking down the shots, and they're just fun to watch. So, again, yeah, the West, year after year, is so competitive.
I know a mini coach that recorded the series against Miami and San Antonio because the way San Antonio played.
Yeah.
That was true basketball teamwork. I mean, everybody was accountable. The ball movement, it was beautiful.
It was a clinic.
It was fun to watch. And
Yes.
I was finding myself like complete smiles watching them play because the ball movement, Tim Duncan and holding down the middle and holding down the paint. Everybody was writing him off saying he's a lot older and he's washed up. No, Tim Duncan is still one of the premier players in the NBA. And with the players around him, that workload that some of the other stars have to do. But when his name is called upon, he was getting the job done. And it was so much fun just to watch those guys play and gel together. That was really basketball.
Yes, it was. It's especially for a purist, and I know you love the game that way too. And you can see that there's a lot of international flavor on that team. And Pop listens. His finger is on the pulse, and the way that he had them peaking at the right time. Yeah, you had some older veteran players, but they were ready to play when it was time to win that championship.
Yes, and then when Kawhi Leonard and all those guys got going, the big three, they kept feeding him the ball.
That's right.
Okay, Kawhi, it's your time to do your thing. It's your time. You're playing well. We're going to ride you. And he stepped up to the plate, and whenever Ginobili and everybody had to hit a big shot, they was ready.
That's right.
That was a true team. Not one. I didn't know who was going to shine when the game.
That's
all
right.
you know is going to be good basketball being played, and it was a joy to watch.
There's so many weapons, and a thing that I noticed too. Again, talking about body language, when Manu split three guys and went up and dunked hard, you didn't see him, pointing fingers or trying to show out anybody. The bench was supporting him, and they were the ones erupting. Tim, maybe Tiago Splitter would sit there and block Dwayne Wade's shot. You didn't see him wagging a finger, but yet the bench was up, waving the towel support. I love to see that. You don't have to sit there and try to show up the opponent. You just do your job and do it well. Let the fans, you feed off that support from the fans and your teammates on the bench. It was fun to watch, and it was just a class act and a class organization. And again, for the basketball purists out there, if you say that was boring to watch, you need to start watching And One,
Yes, exactly. I mean, it was so much fun to watch. And when you said class act, wow, you won't see those guys on Sports Center. You won't see them on commercials, but you can see them at the podium with a championship trophy in their hands. That's the most important thing.
You better believe it. Well, let's ask you one more question before we let you go. So are you in Maryland right now?
Yes, I officially moved in to my house last week. My wife and kids came up and helped me move in.
Nice.
And my aunt and my mother came in town yesterday to finalize some things with me. So I'm all moved in, ready to get out on the road, recruit in July, and get the guys in the summer school and get ready to get this thing rolling for next season. Trying to get this mentality changed here at University of Maryland Eastern Shore, trying to get some winning instilled back into the program, and I'm looking forward to the future.
There you go. Well, the last question for you tonight, Ace, because again, I know it's late out there on the East Coast. So again, I thank you for sharing your time with us here on the Coach Scott Field Show. But if you could leave one nugget to all the viewers and players out there who have followed Ace Custis in his career, and maybe there's some young players at Riyadh that remember you, or maybe they're out in Japan, or even there on the East Coast, what nugget could you leave the players with to help them prepare for their journey, or maybe their transition from high school to college, or maybe from college to the pros? what would you share with those players right now?
I would tell them the man on top of the mountain didn't just land there. And in the process of getting to the top of the mountain, you must work hard. Hard work has gave me the opportunity to have basketball not only as fun and enjoyment, but a way of living. And I attribute that to all of hard work. Throughout my life, I continue to work hard, and if you work hard, you will see results. The harder you work, the more results you'll see. So no matter what you're doing, whether it's on the court, in the classroom, in life, in your job, as a husband, as a father, friend, what you give into it, what you'll receive in return.
I love it, Ace. I really appreciate you sharing that. I guess I lied. I'm going to ask you one more question.
No problem.
What's one thing you remember about me and my coaching that maybe impacted your life either on or off the court? Is there one specific thing that, maybe we talked about or something that you picked up from me as a coach and working together when we were making that championship run in Lebanon? What's one thing that stands out in your mind, the first thing that comes to your head?
One thing I loved about you, you was a friend and a coach, and you knew how to turn both of them off when you had to be. You could be a coach and drill me when I'm late, get in my face, and then once the practice or the game was over, you was a friend, someone I could talk to, someone I could laugh and joke with, and you didn't hold anything I did on the court against me or whatever. So I considered you as a player's coach because you was a coach that demanded perfection, and then you was a friend that enjoyed laughter as well.
Well, I appreciate that. Again, I'm humbled by that, and it means a lot. Our producer.
I appreciate your friendship and all that you've done for me throughout my life, and I look forward to seeing you in person in the near future.
I hope so. Let's pray on that, because if I can get out there to support you guys out there at Maryland Eastern Shore, we're definitely going to do it. But actually, my producer has a question that he wants to ask you, Ace.
Hey, Ace, this is Bob. Before the show, Scott and I were kind of talking, and he was filling me in a little bit about that. And he said that one of the things that used to give him grief over was his hair. So I just wanted to bring that up, and maybe you can tell the viewers what you used to tell him to do, if you can remember what that was.
I can't remember exactly what I used to tell him to do, but I knew Coach was always on point with it.
Well, hey, Ace, I'm gonna remind you just to kind of end on a kind of comical note. I was kind of getting kind of thin on top, and if you see this show live right now, you always said, "Hey, Coach, take lots of pictures."
Yeah, I see you, Coach. I'm watching live right now online too. I'm watching you right now, Coach.
Well, hey, trust me.
But I'm getting kind of thin up there on the top as well. I see right now in the picture you got my college picture, so I appreciate that as well.
Well, hey, I've taken a lot of photos because it's a good thing I got married early, because my stuff is gone. Hey, but I gotta say,
good, Coach.
Hey, I gotta say something about you too. You're one of the players that could never even touch his toes.
and Coach, I still can't.
Oh, that's great. Well, Ace, God bless you, buddy. I wish nothing but the best for you, your family. Continued success on your journey. With your growth and development, not only as a person, because you are a first-class individual, and I'm blessed to have had the opportunity to work with you, but also in your coaching career. I know you're going to have great success, and bless you on your travels. Be safe. Good luck to you, and I'm glad your family was able to help you get moved in up there at Maryland Eastern Shore, and good luck to you fellas this next season.
All right, I greatly appreciate it. Coach, one thing for you, one word of advice. Can you tell me something, as now I'm a coach and I'm doing what you do, what's some of the advice you would give me?
Outwork, out-prepare, anybody and everybody lead by example. The players know if you're not being real with them. You be truthful, you be honest, you come from the heart, and that will always lead you in the right direction. But always out-prepare anybody and everybody for every situation. I don't care if it's a practice, I don't care if it's a game, I don't care if it's just a drill or any one-on-one meeting that you're going to have. you be prepared, and that's going to, give you a great foundation for your whole future success, because I know you're going to lead from the heart, buddy.
All right, Coach. I appreciate it. I'm going to take those words of wisdom with me.
All right, buddy. God bless you, and we're gonna go on a break real quick. But Ace, thank you so much again for coming on the Coach Scott Fields Show.
All right, Coach. I appreciate it.
All right, have a good night, buddy.
All right, good night.
All right, we're going to go on a little break there, Bob. That was great having
That was
Ace
good
come on
stuff.
there.
Good stuff.
What a great guy. And we're going to have another former player of mine. He's out in California. We'll get him on the phone after this short break. And we're going to have Tony Farmer right here on the Coach Scott Fields Show.
All right.
All right.
In order to complete this call,
Okay, well, hey, we're back with the Coach Scott Fields Show. Real quick, before we get Tony Farmer on the show, I wanted to read through some of the comments that were shared with our poll question. Again, the poll question tonight was, how did your NBA team do in the 2014 draft? What grade would you give them and why? Ace Custis just shared just now. He thought that the Lakers did a nice job with Julius Randle as their first pick. Travis Yoakum out in Indiana said the Pacers, he'd give them a B because they didn't waste a pick at the end of the second round who wouldn't make the team and got money to save money for Lance Stevenson. So they took a lesson from the San Antonio Spurs. They're going to stay the course. Travis, thanks for sounding off. Tracy Graven, who was living in Oklahoma City, he gave the Thunder an A-. He says, "In Sam we trust." They like what Sam Presti's doing out there as a general manager. And then Nick, he gave the Jazz a B. He said, "Great pickup at 23 with Rodney Hood, the shooter from Duke." And he says, "But the jury is out on Exum. Worried that he's too unproven at a high level, but the upside could be worth the risk." Thank those three gentlemen for signing in, talking about the poll question. We'll ask Tony Farmer also, too, what his favorite team is and what grade he gives them. And then Tony Farmer is a guy that lived here in the Salt Lake Valley for a while. I was able to work with him with some of the minor league teams that we had here. He's maintained a friendship with us. We're getting a hold of him live right now. He's out in California, so we'll get Tony Farmer on the phone here in just a moment.
Hey, Tony, this is Bob Fitzgerald, Brave Haven Media. I've got Coach Scott Fields. Like to talk with you on the air if that's okay with you.
Okay, yeah, I'm on Skype too. If you guys want to go on there, it doesn't matter to me. Whatever you want.
Okay, yeah, we'll do this because our Skype's not working right now very well.
Okay, cool.
Tony Farmer. Can you hear me, buddy?
Hey, what's happening?
Can you hear me, Tony?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey,
I can
great.
hear you.
It's great to have you on the Coach Scott Fields Show. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm hanging in there.
Good, good. Hey, we were trying to set up a link there so we could get the Skype thing going. Had a little bit of a technical difficulty with that, but I'm glad we caught you on the phone and we're able to spend a little time talking some hoops right here on the show.
Okay, cool.
How's everything going out there in California for you, buddy?
Everything's going good. Just moving along. Each day is a grind.
Hey, you got to stay on it, my man. Hey, thrilled to have you on the show. Again, a little bit about your past. You and I have been friends for a long time. We've continued our relationship. Our families know each other. I know your kids. It's been a great relationship, and I value that, and I really appreciate you coming on the show tonight with us, buddy.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me. Anytime I can help you, Coach, I'm always willing to help you.
Well, I appreciate it. You and I was able to work together with a minor league team that we had here in Salt Lake. You wore many hats with that team. Matter of fact, you're at the age now. You still go out there and play a little bit of ball with the boys, huh?
Yeah, I actually play about 4 to 5 days a week. I'm playing in the Drew League. I play in the JBL. I play in the pick-up runs on Tuesdays and Thursdays with NBA guys. A lot of the NBA guys, current NBA guys, why am I not still playing? Because at 44 years old, I'm still dunking, still shooting. But, I just take, really good care of myself. My diet has changed, over the past years. And so I enjoy the game. It's a great network. But, yeah, I'm still doing it.
But I every once in a while, I see a post where you're backing somebody down on the block and giving them the business.
Yeah, I got to keep doing that. We had a game on yesterday, matter of fact, and I was playing against the young guys. He was like, "Yeah, Tony, I know you're an NBA veteran." He said, "You're going to have to run today." I said, "I guess we're just going to have to play." But it was pretty interesting because the first time I touched him, I just stepped back and shouted over him, and he was like, "You still got it." I said, "Young fella, you got to relax, man. You got to relax. It's like riding a bike." So, I still have fun with it, but, definitely it's a different point in my life.
Oh, Tony, that's classic. I'm glad you're still able to go out there and you're taking care of yourself and you're eating right. Which is a nugget in itself. The whole thing with our show, Tony, we're trying to empower coaches to be better coaches. We try to empower players to be better players. We try to provide the insight and the quality content to be educational. Even if they're front office guys out there that are watching, we've got a great global following, and I'm thrilled to have a former player like yourself be able to come on and talk about the importance of taking care of your body, to have longevity. You've got NBA experience. What were some of the things that the NBA veterans were able to teach you coming in and playing on an NBA team? Because you always see a lot of the NBA guys, they're icing their knees, they're icing their shoulders. Talk a little bit about why you do that.
Well, I tell the young players, right now, Coach, that your body is your vehicle to success. Without your body, you can't drive your car. Without your mind, you can't put gas in it. So the little things that you do are always going to, prepare you for the next step in life, whether that be the next game, whether that be, playing overseas, whatever God has in store is going to be, your pathway to success. So the icing and being able to do the stretching. To this day, I still wake up in the morning. One of the first things I do, besides prayers, just because whether I'm playing or working out or not, it's just if I can take care of my body, I'll be able to play and walk and do different things for a long period of time according to God's plan. So, a lot of players right now, you look at them and they figure that athletic ability alone is going to get them to the next level, and that's not the proper protocol to get to that level.
Yeah, well, it's great to hear you, share that wisdom, with them. Again, we've got a global audience, and we have a strong national and international viewership. And to hear from a former NBA player, we had Ace Custis who come on, right prior to you coming on. And of course, he spent time with the Dallas Mavericks and played, FIBA international ball just like you have. What were some of the things that you took from the basketball minds and some of the coaches at the NBA level when you were a player that helped grow and helped you maintain, how you take care of yourself now today?
I'm fortunate enough, Coach, to play for some amazing coaches, been around some amazing players. And, I came in as a junior. The first contract I signed was with the Lakers. I had a very good relationship with Magic Johnson. And I remember the first time I got into practice, he was like, Tony, I've been telling you for a long time, you have to slow down. Slow down some. He said, because once you slow down and learn to articulate, you're going to be able to play for a long period of time. And to play 17 seasons. I was blessed, but, he had told me, he said, one thing you're going to remember, I don't care if you remember anything else, your paycheck will never, ever have your statistics on it. So whether you have a bad game or whether you have a good game or a bad practice or a good practice, you'll be able to go. And then, from that point on, I was able to play for Pat Riley in Miami. I remember Riley just sat there and told me, he said, one thing about you'll never have a chance to be outworked if you want it. He said, there's a player in the NBA probably named Jason Williams. He says, you're like Jason Williams with a jump shot with more skill because you never stop working. So I was able to take some things from that. Then I played for a great coach in Charlotte, played for Paul Silas and Dave Cowens. And Paul Silas said, you know what? Once you're developing your niche every day, every game, and once you continue to develop your niche, you're going to play this game a long time. Then I moved on to Golden State and played for PJ. PJ, I have a lot of respect for him because he gave me a lot of minutes at Golden State. My year and a half there, he gave a chance to make a difference, had some astounding games, but he had told me, he said, one thing that I love about you do it humbly. And a lot of players these days is, you see them get a dunk and they want to dance and party, but then their man's running back on defense. So, I've been blessed to play for a lot of coaches and Coach even, having you as a coach in the minor league, team up in Salt Lake and having a chance to work with you. I've never, ever seen a coach, maybe like a Pat Riley, outwork you. And the thing is, like, you outwork, you out-hustle, you outthink, and you stay the grind. So those kind of coaches today are few and far between, and that's why I always tell you, you deserve to get your job now when it's your time, because I've never seen the coach outwork you.
Well, Tony, I appreciate it, and I'm humbled by those kind words that you have. We've had some fun together. Actually, you and I very first crossed paths when you were playing professionally in Puerto Rico. I was out there, I think it was like the summer of '94, and I was at Fajardo, and I think you might have been with Bayamon, but we had a young 17-year-old Carlos Arroyo on that team before he ever went to Florida International. But I remember the impact that you had with that team because that was a championship-level club, and your experience and watching you work with those players on that team, you guys had a lot of success out there.
Yeah, we did, and that was actually right after the summer of Miami. That was like 96, 97. That's when I first met Carlos in Fajardo. That was my first experience ever in Puerto Rico. And I remember, I was like, man, these guys over here, you seem like they're underachievers, and you had your team playing great. And I was able to go into a championship-caliber team. So, I was able to make an impact, and it's just been a blessing for me because I've been back to Puerto Rico since. I went to see a couple teams that I played for. I got to the station when I went to the game, and I found out I made the all-decade team. I'm going to make the Hall of Fame. And it's not really about my accolades. It's just a fact when you can have a touch people's lives and you cross paths so many times and had a chance to play in a wonderful place like Puerto Rico, those kind of memories can be exchanged, and you see the levels of play. You see a guy like Carlos Arroyo when he was at FIU and playing playing in the BSN, and now it's continuing to go after the NBA. You see guys that they just have longevity because they started early.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at it. Matter of fact, you might have been playing the same time that Orlando Antigua was playing, who ended up being on staff with Rick Pitino, who now has his own job down there at South Florida.
Yes, I did play against in Puerto Rico. He was playing for a team called Santurce down there, and he played well. I remember playing against him, and he's put his time in. He got a job down in South Florida. I think he did a great job after being under Calipari out in Kentucky. So I think these guys are definitely getting their time to shine. And one thing that I respect about you, Coach, is I always see that you're always looking to move up, and I definitely see that. To me, college basketball is not your calling. I definitely think you need to be on a pro bench, NBA, something like that, because teaching can never be stopped.
Well, I appreciate it. I've just been blessed that I've had a lot of great players to work with. We've been able to implement, a lot of philosophy and, try to change the culture and mentality of a lot of, different places where I've been. And we've had success with that, and it's been a fun ride. Stayed home here this year. My son was able to sign a scholarship down at USU Eastern, and it's trust me, praying hard about it, Tony, that the good Lord, in His timing and on His plan, that we have another opportunity to get in and work at the professional level here in the United States, and hopefully, all those prayers are going to come to fruition. But I know God has a plan, and I'm thrilled now to have this show, to have former players like yourself to come on here and share insight and wisdom and experience and expertise with our global audience. What are some other things, Tony, that you can share with our global following when it comes to basketball? I mean, there's a lot of life lessons off the court that you can learn within basketball. What were some of those life lessons that you learned on your journey through the game of basketball that you apply to your entrepreneurship that you're doing now?
Well, I mean, for me, the thing that has been a blessing for me is, playing in France, playing in Spain, places like that, I actually learned how, to pick up the language. I spoke Spanish, and I speak French, and today I still use those, and those kind of nuggets and those kind of blessings you can't just walk away from. And being able to play in those countries and to speak the language on an everyday dialect, gave me a lot of momentum and a lot of respect for how they do it. But one thing I can tell you, when people ask me about playing in Europe for the 9 years I played, they said, what are some of the things that you took away? I was like, well, one of the greatest things I ever did was to play for the same team for 3 years, won a championship there. We were the number 8 seed in the playoff. We won it. Able to still connect with those guys. Some of them are friends today on Facebook, and some of the fans still reach out to me. But when you look at how global fans are to their teams, I don't care where they play. I don't care what city it is. You'll have busloads and busloads. And I remember when we played our championship in France, across the street in the soccer stadium, there were 20,000 people.
That's awesome. I mean, those are great experiences that you don't hear a lot about, but to have that support, to have those people, following you and supporting you, it's a boost to have that local support. Because, I mean, here we are in foreign countries with a passport, trying to pick up another language, which helps us later globally in international marketplaces. But it's difficult, when you're in a different country, because sometimes your money's not coming in on time. Sometimes, the coach may not be communicating to you effectively on what your role is and what you need to do. And sometimes as players, and that's what I tried to do a lot, was be honest and forthright with the players and say, hey, this is what we need from you. This is what your role's got to be. But a lot of times in players, Americans go overseas and they may have maybe a Yugoslavian coach, or maybe a Bosnian coach, or maybe an Italian coach who doesn't speak English great, and you've got to try to figure out what he's trying to communicate to you and tell you what to do on the floor.
Exactly. And, one thing that, I appreciated, more than anything, with mine, was the fact that I was able to play for different coaches who understood my game. I was able to get the offenses tailor-made to my game, and I was able to adjust to the teams that I was on. So even with the teams that I was on, I was still able to play well. But a lot of people don't really understand that it's hard for a lot of Americans to go over there and adjust to those settings. But I was able to go over there and adjust to them and actually have a great career. So I'm definitely blessed with that.
Yeah, no doubt about that, my man. No doubt about that. Well, you're in the twilight of your career. I mean, you still play from time to time. You're keeping your body right. But, you've kind of ventured off into some entrepreneurial stuff. What are some things that you're doing now? I mean, I've seen some clothing line that you're a part of. Talk to us a little bit about, what that clothing line is.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to, to establish a clothing line. It's called Mark Clothing Co. And, it's for tall men and women. I was able to start that on my own because I just saw the frustration of being tall and being able to get clothing to fit my soul. So I just decided to start. I did research for about 6 to 8 months on it and saw that there just wasn't a whole lot out there. But then at the end of the day, I was able to start it. So it's only been going for about 12 weeks now. It's something I'm doing on my own and have some great relationship with some vendors and manufacturers. And, I'm just taking it around, but definitely have a passion for it. When you look at the corporate world, you can be in the corporate world today and be gone tomorrow. So I've experienced some of those. And, So I just said the best thing I can do is just grind and do things on my own and, follow God's plan and just hope for good things to happen. So, I mean, everything is done here in the United States based out of Los Angeles. And, I'm pretty much a one-man show. And, it's hard work, but I wouldn't want to have it any other way because it gives a chance to instill those values into my kids and to my work. And, I just take it one day at a time, and whatever God has in store for me, I'm doing it.
There you go. Well, let me ask you this, Tony. You definitely hustle. You use social media well, but how can viewers globally find out about your brand and your company? I know on Twitter you're at tfarmer8, but is there a website that people can go to? Is there how can viewers find out more about your brand?
With my brand, you can go to Mark Clothing Co. It's MarkClothingCo.com, and follow us on Twitter at Mark Clothing Co. and follow us on Instagram at Mark Clothing Co. and my personal Instagram is at tfarmer8. So those are the best things that you can do. And as the other day, Scott, I got involved with a company called Social Zing, and man, that's been great with that. And my website is celebritywealthbuilder.com, and I got involved in it because I'm so busy, and social media is such of a pathway to success. And now my social media is on automation, which has posts that go out all day, inspirational with my clothing line, with things I'm doing. And it's making life easy, and even just making the connection and building an audience. So definitely hard work definitely can get you the fruits of your labor. I mean, just like you stand on this course all the way from Chaminade to Lebanon to Salt Lake City, and it's amazing how God has His plans and how His stories, and I think your story's still not finished.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and I know you're going to sit out there and hustle and get this clothing line going. I hope that the viewers take the time to do their own research, because there's a lot of basketball players out there watching this who are large guys like yourself, being 6'10" on a large frame. I'm sure you can clothe them and have them looking nice.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the thing is, our stuff is priced right, from a thermal to $45 to a T-shirt $20-something, even to shoes at $45. And my thing make a difference. And my ultimate goal is to have an office here in LA and have a factory that I can create jobs because I know what it's like. And at the end of the day, it's just something that I have a passion about, and I think it has a chance to do well and gain some momentum.
I love it. I love it. Hey, Tony, we'll back it back up. I'm thrilled that you're hustling. You're leading by example for your children. I remember your kids used to call me Uncle Scott, and that used to thrill me to see little London run around, you tasing them. It's hard to believe how much they've grown, and their time is going too quick, buddy.
It is. I mean, London will be 14 in October. Tasia will be 13 July the 27th, and they're definitely getting older and older by the day. And the thing now is you can never ever take anything away, from the growth of your children. And I just want to, do the best I can to provide for them, to have a relationship with them. And divorce is never easy. You never welcome that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And I just want to see them grow to be the best that they can be. And that's why I work as hard as I do.
That's a great message. We had a poll question tonight, Tony. And, the poll question, and we had some viewers kind of sign in and chime on what they thought. But our poll question tonight was, how did your NBA team do in the NBA draft in 2014? I'm sure you may have a favorite NBA team. Are the Lakers or the Clippers, since you're an LA guy, is that who you follow the most, or who is your favorite NBA team?
To be honest with you, Coach, I get asked that question all the time. I actually don't even have a favorite team. I like watching certain teams. I like watching certain players, but I don't have a specific NBA team that, I'm a fan. It's very hard for me to just be a straight fan when I played for so long, of my years in the NBA. But, I can tell you that the teams that I enjoy to watch, San Antonio, love to watch the Spurs because they put a well-oiled machine with chains on them, with automobiles, with planes, and they don't do it with pizzazz, they do it with class. And Pop, by far, is one coach that I respect, the most. And, I watched this year a lot, too. Besides Miami, I watch a lot of Golden State basketball just because, seeing Mark Jackson, so much scrutiny and so much, discomfort with the front office, see him persevere that well. I'm glad he enjoyed some success. And then I see the adversity that Doc Rivers and the Clippers went through and see how they persevered. So I don't really have a specific team. And, I watched the draft and, know Isaiah Austin well. It was unfortunate how that young man won't be drafted. And the NBA did a great job of having a celebratory for him. But at the end of the day, I watched the draft. There's some great players taken. But I'll be curious to see how some of these college players transition to the pros, because some of the players in the past that have gone to the draft did not fare out, and some that you think weren't going to do well were amazing.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you that. Let's hone in on that statement right there, because I think your finger's on the pulse. Some players come in and they do well. Some players come in and exceed expectations. Some players come in with high expectations and drop off the mat. Why, with your experience, you've been in the league, why do you think some of those players just don't work out? Do you think it's mentality? Do you think it's maybe their entitlement? Do you think it's their work ethic? Why do you think some players just don't pan out? Do you think that the general managers and the front offices didn't do their homework enough? But what do you think, Tony?
I think a big portion of it is preparation.
Yeah.
When you look at a player, he has the same right to prepare for the game as a superstar does. And the thing is, right now, one thing that's a big disappointment to me now, Coach, I see a lot out here in different places, are these AAU programs are so strong, and these AAU coaches are kind of taking over for their own selfish behaviors and, getting paid from the shoe companies and getting this player and getting that player. Then the high school coach becomes a mute person. He doesn't have the same kind of influence. And that's a big problem that I have, that I see all the time. And you see these players walking around with entourages, and then all of a sudden they're being told how great they are. Then they have the mentality before they walk in that I'm doing one and done. And to me, that kind of takes away a lot of it, because it's not giving that player, a good experience to be able to prepare themselves. And, Damian Lillard, I've talked to a lot this year, talked to him a lot last year because he was a fan of mine in Golden State. And he'll tell you, I told him last year, I said, you get yourself 18 and 10, you're going to have a well-deserved chance to walk that stage of Rookie of the Year. I told him this year via text message as well. I said, hey, lead your team, perform in the big games, and you're going to be an all-star and all-NBA. That happened, but he's a 4-year player who was prepared. He came out of Weber State, and people were like, oh, who is this kid? But then you see the high lottery picks, and at the end of the day, the best thing that I can see is these players have a deficiency that they don't better their strengths and work on their weaknesses, and then they figure that ability is going to take them to another level. So even at myself at 44 years of age, I'm playing against current NBA players and guys that play overseas, and I'm sitting there watching, it's like, I have some of you guys double by age, and you should be able to destroy me athletically, but my IQ, my instinct, and my preparation and my will to succeed has expectations.
Yeah, well, and Tony, that's why I think you would be an asset to a staff to work and develop these players, both on and off the court. I think you've got a wealth of knowledge and expertise, when it comes to the game, or even in a front office type situation. I think you would be outstanding, and it'll be interesting to see how things continue to develop, because I just feel like someone with all that knowledge that you have. And the fact that you made the comment about AAU basketball and how the high school coaches don't have as much input or influence on these kids as like maybe the generations when we grew up, where it was mainly your high school. But again, these AAU coaches bringing in sponsorship money, and it's all about winning, and they're doing it for the wrong reasons. I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yeah, I've always had a desire to get into coaching development, but honestly, I had a desire to do it on the pro level. It was great, but my main experience in my 17 years coach has been on the pro level, and I just believe it's just a different dynamic, whether it's from the NBA, whether it's from the D League, whether it's from an overseas situation, because I feel that I can have a lot of sphere of influence on young players and even players trying to get there, even players who are there, just because I was blessed to be a versatile player that can play on the inside and the outside and kind of like a hybrid big, which is today's big, a lot of these guys are able to do. So, I've had aspirations to get into coaching situation. I just haven't been done. I mean, I've been offered college jobs, as you know, high school jobs, but that's not my calling. I know that for a fact. My calling is to be on the pro level and be able to guide some of these players to learn from my own situation.
Without a doubt, buddy, without a doubt. Well, the short time that we've been able to work together on the court, what's one thing maybe that you've taken from me as a coach? Because again, I know you've been around some great basketball minds, but was there one certain thing that maybe I taught, or maybe the way I taught, or the way I would teach that kind of stands out to you that you remember most about working with me on the floor?
I mean, I learned a lot, but I remember when we had a team in a minor league situation, and I was able to be player and say, what, coach, this is your show. You do your thing, able to help put the team together, but just the intensity that you have, that you refuse to lose, you refuse to not finish first, and just the work ethic alone, you put a lot of hours in. And they say about having a job, there's a lot of times job means just over broke, and people live from check to check, and you try for dollars, and you traded hours, but not hours for dollars. You traded hours for results. At every place I've seen you coach, you won. And every time I see you step on the court, you don't stop. I mean, you're out there sweating, and then you're still getting your workout on it. So you're leading by example. So those are things that I've taken and applied to my own development of player ethic. Is you refuse to let someone outwork you. You can't always control the results of the game, but you can control work ethic.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, buddy, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show tonight to share your wisdom, talk about, the companies that you're involved with. Highly encourage our viewers to, to get on and look those things up. And I know we'll probably have your Twitter handle there on a graphic as we're showing the show. So I hope people take the time to, reach out to you and, support what you're doing because we definitely support you here, buddy.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks, you guys, for having me, Bob. Thank you for having me on the show. I mean, I a little bit of ace on the show today. I know you're doing good things out there in Salt Lake City. As you know, my kids are there, so I've been there for a long time. And I know at some point in time you're going to get that call to pack your bag and pack your suit so you can go ahead and lead the team to some wins.
Well, I appreciate it, buddy. And we just thrilled to have, gentlemen on like yourself who can share that knowledge and expertise. And I hope that the viewers take advantage of the opportunity to soak it up like a sponge so that you can empower them and help them with their journeys and their careers as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me. I wish you all the luck and the best of success with the show. Stopping your career.
All right, Tony. I appreciate you, buddy. You have a good night, and thanks again for being live on the Coach Scott Field Show, buddy.
All right, Coach. Appreciate it. Blessings to you.
All right, man. You too. God bless.
Uh-huh.
Well, there you go, Bob.
All right.
Had two great guests once again.
Yeah.
Had some different insights, had some different perspectives, which I think it's always good to hear, different perspectives, on maybe they see things, how they view things. But to have two former players come on tonight here, June 30th, there's some exciting things going on in the NBA. The NBA Summer League is going to be fast coming up. You got the Orlando Summer League coming up. The Utah Jazz, for the first time, are actually going to go down to Vegas. I think it starts July 11th. So these draft picks coming in, there'll be some free agents battling for spots, and it gets very competitive. So, NBA-wise, it doesn't stop. It's 12 months of the year, and that grind continues for these NBA teams. So it'll be fun to see how those kind of things go on,
Yeah, it's it's exciting to see just all the dynamics that is involved in an organization like the NBA, and then to come across great individuals that have given so much to the NBA in the past, continue to give today, and help to work with the future generations.
You got it, and I love that, and I'm glad that people admire our mission and what we're doing, because tonight, hopefully, I think we're going to surpass on CoachScottFields.com. We're going to have over 10,000 views.
We went over that tonight. I just checked some statistics, and we passed that.
Oh, that's outstanding, and what a blessing that is. And we thank you here from Brave Haven Studios, Bob and I both, from our hearts. Thank you for the support. Thank you for your viewership. Thank you for your time to tune into the show as, again, we try to empower, educate, and grow as individuals. You know, Bob, I'm even myself. I'm continuing working out with local athletes.
Right.
If players are interested in skill development, I've had a handful of guys that I've been working with. They can contact me at coachscottfields@gmail.com, and we're doing high-level, high-intensity, skill development. And matter of fact, I got a text early this morning. Actually, it was late last night, but I read it early this morning. The one gentleman that I'm working with, that I've worked with for a couple weeks, they were playing out at the Big Mountain Jam. There at the Southtown Expo, and he said he was averaging about 14 points a game. So TJ, great job, buddy. I'm proud of you. You keep working hard and keep grinding, and the confidence that you're going to gain from this summer, I think, is going to lead into some great things for you for your future out there at Riverton High School. So, and another gentleman that I've been working out with, he just rolled his ankle, so I wish him a speedy recovery. But I'm having a great time working with these individuals, and it's been a lot of fun. And you and I have kind of bounced some dialogue back and forth about maybe possibly doing something at the NBA Summer League that we're teetering with it, and that could be something
trying to work out some of the logistics so we can get down there.
And that's going to be exciting. We're still open to our team sales positions internationally, nationally, and locally. Those spots are still available. How can people contact you if they have an interest in being a part and supporting our show?
Yeah, probably the easiest way is email, and it's
Okay.
bravehaven@mac.com. That was
Okay.
BRAVEHAVEN.
There you go.
At mac.com.
Okay.
Or they can call and leave a message. I'm usually not here in the studio,
Yeah.
but they can call and leave a message at 801-738-8697.
I love it.
And I know we've got a few people that are interested in those
Yeah.
positions.
Yes.
And we're just about ready to roll out the product so that they can have some things to take to the clients. If you're local, please contact us,
Yes.
because we can get your spots on there. We've got Salon Dante and MetLife and Bravehaven, and then we're also promoting the stuff that Scott's doing. One thing I wanted to bring up, Scott, tonight we've had viewers in the United States, Brazil, Canada, Germany, Japan, Mexico, and the Netherlands.
How about
So
that?
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
that
just
we've had-
tonight, huh?
Just tonight, yeah.
Oh, that's outstanding. And the fact that we finally surpassed on CoachScottFields.com over 10,000 views.
Right.
That's, I'm touched by that. I really am, that we have that global following, and we couldn't do it without our guests who every week come in here and share their insight, which has just been amazing. And the quality content that we continue to have week after week has just been amazing, and we're truly blessed for that. I'm thrilled that we got a camera so people can see you. They used to just see me kind of talking, but now they're putting a face to the voice and the name back there in the background. So I'm thrilled. So see, viewers, we do listen to you, and we hope that we bring a quality product and answer, and you get to see what you want to see. But I'm thrilled that you're on there, Bob. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, I have the lighting low, and I'm hiding in the dark as much as possible, Scott.
But if they could only see the hours of preparation that you do, just like some of these players talking about going into these franchises and all the preparation, all the dedication. I mean, you've got buttons and you got graphics and you're switching on mics and you got lights and sound and, calling people. It's amazing the work that you do, and you have this set just looking first class. It's truly an honor to be working with you right here out of Bravehaven Studios.
It's my privilege, believe me.
Well, we're having a lot of fun with it. Hey, tonight is June 30th. It is the end of June. July is fast going to be approaching us. We're going to be talking about the format for the show. We've condensed things now since it's the summer months. We're getting out of here at 9 o'clock here tonight, so we're staying on task, and we're bringing a shorter show to you. But thanks again for your viewership. Thank you for taking the time, for tuning in. Excited to see, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of viewers from Lebanon and Japan with Ace. And then, of course, Tony talked about France and Puerto Rico. And I know there's other coaches that he's played in. So I'm sure, once that kind of gets out on social media, we're going to have even further support even throughout the week. And our new guests coming on for the coming weeks, look for our updates on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We try to use all of our social medias. But please also, if you believe in what we're doing, please share the link on
Absolutely.
Facebook. Share with text, and because again, we can't grow without you and your support, and we thank you for that.
Yep. And if you miss the show, you can always go to the clips page on Scott's website there, or you can follow us on YouTube also. And
Outstanding.
it's just a great opportunity.
Well, we're thrilled to do it. We appreciate your support. There's also a donate page link there where they can get
Right.
on and do like donations if they like what they're seeing and want to see more, or maybe there's some content, or maybe there's a guest that you would like to hear from. Send us an email. Let us know who you would like to hear from. I know there's a lot of people here with the Jazz that we could bring in with the organization and the franchise to maybe answer some of those questions for the support that the Utah Jazz have here, since we are in an NBA city.
Yep.
We'll be doing that moving forward. And again, nationally, we've had some great NBA players. We've had NBA front office people. We've had just quality coaches and players that have been able to come on and share their journeys with us.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, hey, we're going to sign off here for tonight. We thank you for tuning in. I know it's getting late there on the East Coast, and globally, if maybe you're watching in the Netherlands, I know you're about 6 hours in front, so maybe you're staying up to get ready for some World Cup action. But we thank you for watching the Coach Scott Field Show right here from Brave Haven Studios. All right, you guys have a good night. God bless, and we'll see you again next week.